So we're going to have a change of scene for a couple of days. Sam and I have been laying up these sheets of white internal linings, and then Sam's been fairing all the bedrooms, and quite frankly yesterday I lost the will to live sanding and fairing out 4 cabins and nearly killed myself doing it in dust. So we're going to have a change of scene today, Sam. Alright, what I'm planning to do, I purchased a tube bender, and the initial purchase came with 7 dies for bending various types of tube. However, it didn't have a 25mm tube die for it, so I've run the guy who makes them, and he's actually machined me some 25mm die, and we've just done a cheater, and this is my cheater. Now, to work out the bends, we had to get the measurement here of the radius. Now, he did actually say to me we're going to get some slight flattening of the tube, so we've got a 25mm 1-inch tube here, 1.6mm thickness, and the initial bends I did, and I'll show you a picture of how they turned out. They were shockers because I was using the wrong die. Now he sent me the new die. He did say there'll be a little bit of flattening. Now, short of buying a really super expensive mandrel bender, I'm going to try to do this on my own, and there's no one around here that'll actually do it for me. No one seems to want to touch boats around this area, so I'm just going to get it done. We've ended up with this. We've just bent this tube, and there is a bit of flattening on the top of it and also on the inside, but it's not crimping. And that is a really good result, because everything else I did crimped. Now, I did some initial bends with the wrong die, ended up with some varying results. This one here was the best one I got, and you can see here, this was with a 19mm die, and essentially we still got crimping. I'll tell you now that I also filled this with garnet sand, blocked it, packed it, and then I still ended up with crimping, and these ones even got worse as I changed the die and changed the settings. So I think to go from that to that is a huge win. So my tube bender that I have is going to suffice now with my new dies that that Chris has actually made for me. Great old guy, sounds like my dad, like an old machinist. So we've done this, and we're going to call this our cheater, and it's given us our measurements. Essentially, we have a 13cm external radius and a height of 8.5 centimeters. So we now know the distance or the length we need to go to make our handrails. And my first handrail I want to make is this one, the stern of the boat. It's going to go from our last stanchion base down onto our sugar scoop extensions. So these are my measurements, and because this is the raised part before I go down onto the sugar scoop, so this will be the sugar scoop, here's the stairs. Essentially, I need to have it at 750 high, which is going to give me my first lifeline. And then I need to add 8.5 centimeters of material for the vertical part of this 90 degree, and then another 8.5 centimeters for this part of it. So it's a 13cm external radius, but it's actually 8.5 centimeters of material vertically and horizontally. Same deal here, and same deal here, which gives us a grand total of 2383 millimeters. So let's cut a piece of that. Because we're not experienced tube benders, we're actually making a plan or a pattern. We have to make 2 of these. It won't matter if it's a centimetre over or so, but it will if we don't make it long enough. Well, I worked it out at, what was my total?
2.4.
No.
You had 2.4.
No, I didn't have 2.4.
Oh, when you recalculated it, after you got it wrong.
Yeah, and then what did I end up with? 25.50?
Yeah, 25.50, and I ended up with 25.43.
Right, by adding it all up, we have to work out the length of the curve, and that's very important. That's why you do a cheater bar, so that you know what your radiuses are going to be. Mask and tape where you're cutting so you don't damage the surface.
So we've marked the width of the tape, because when we first bent it, we didn't know where the
start point.
So we've marked this side and this side, and we'll line the tape up with those lines.
Yep.
Once we put it on the actual one.
Right, okay, and then we'll bring it over here onto our mould, our pattern, and we'll mark this exactly the same so we know where that starts. So we mark the beginning of the bend. We need to put some tape on that, and that'll give us our first bend. Right, cool. 1.65.
Yeah, that's not good. Oh, no.
It's like, I reckon we should bend it that far.
Okay. So we just realised that we might actually hit this.
Hit the door mullion.
Let's look at this extra extension bit.
Yeah, once we start bending, I'm going to hit that. I needed that right over there because I'm right hand bending it.
Let's see how we go.
Because I've got to be in between. You need to be in between. You need to be there and there, not in the middle. There. Slowly. Slowly. Oh, you bastard! I'm down at 5 centimetres too far over.
Come on, Roscoe.
I've got to go round.
You've always had that problem being a bit too long, eh, Roscoe?
Always had two inches too long.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
So what we'll do is we'll measure that. We'll measure 13, and then we'll put a pay, and then we'll measure that one.
Well, we ran into problems, didn't we? Bastard, you heard a lot of language. Alright, so we're going to measure 13 centimetres from there to there. And then we've got to instigate a new bend here, which will make sure that I can get it within the door, and then we'll go back and re-bend this one. The only thing is we have to make sure that this bend is in the same plane as this bend.
Which we'll do on this sheet.
And we'll do that on this sheet. So there we go. I'm calling this a success so far, because we don't have a protractor, so we're sort of going by spirit level.
It's not a very good start to sailing.
No, we're going to give Janet a sextant.
You should know that over a long distance,
One
minute is like landing in Australia or landing in Singapore.
Yeah.
That's Polly.
You're the one who pulled it.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
That'll do. Crush it. That's pretty close, isn't it? That looks alright, eh? I'll be happy with that. I'm very happy with that.
Cool.
That is awesome. We had a good bend and we've got it flat. As you can see, we had to do a little bit of ancillary bending, a little bit of Roscoe and Sam brute force, but it's perfect. Alright, let's just see how this fits.
Might need some shaving. We did that.
Oh yeah, we're going to do some trimming. Can you feel me? That's great.
It's so funny. You try and square off against anything on this boat, and it just doesn't look square.
Right. That's exactly.
It looks a little bit higher at the back, but it could be just what's
Yeah, we just need to shave the back.
It could be what's behind it.
I can adjust the height of this just a touch.
Yeah, it
It
needs
does
to.
need some.
Cool.
And I think if we just have one rail, we could put 2 rails in that. That's actually a good height for.
You're definitely not going over the edge there.
And then my plan is to have, and whether Sam and I can do it or not, is one that goes down at about this height.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Cool.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. God, it's a high one, isn't it? Yeah, it definitely needs to go down.
We can trim it at both ends.
Yeah, it needs to be. It won't matter if this lifeline is downhill a bit, because they often are. They'll have 2 go into 1 point there. But that looks really good.
Happy?
All tight?
Yeah. See, figured it out.
Hey?
Yeah, we did the numbers.
Alright, so it's very important that you don't bend it out of square. We just had to manhandle the last one. So we're going to check it at every level. So we've got a level there, level there, level there, and check your pipe bender and it's a level there, so we've got it all in the right way. If we were trying to get an upward bend or something, then it just complicates it something fierce. But we've just sort of wedged some stuff under here to get it level, and we're ready to bend again. Let's do it. Righto. Boardman handrails. I love it. How's that look?
Square.
Perfect, 90 degrees.
Bit bent.
Beautiful.
Bit bent. We have to bend this one again.
Sheets 11 and 12, or 13 and 14, I'm not really sure. It's like Groundhog Day. Every second day I'm basically spraying up and laying up more internal lining sheets. Sam will be back in the morning. He's been here all day. We've just bent some stainless, and now I'm going to be basically gel coating. It's about 5 o'clock at night, and I'll just get this done. Tomorrow morning, first thing, come in, lay them up, and then we can get on with the day. It only takes us about 45 minutes to an hour to lay 2 sheets once they're gel coated. The actual gel coat process takes around about 2 hours. And I have had some issues. It's winter, and that is a problem for me. I'm often using a G100 cup gun, and that guy looks like this. Just finding with winter, delivering material is quite arduous because it's just a little bit thicker, it's a little bit cooler. You know, we've got lows down to about 7-8 degrees here Celsius, and highs around 20, so during the day it's ideal, but at this time of night when I'm spraying up, it's a bit of a bugger, so I try to keep it nice and warm in the factory here. This guy has the cup. It's a G100 cup gun, delivers about probably about 1 kilo of resin in a fair hurry, you know, probably in about 8 or 9 minutes, so it's before it gels up, so it's a lot quicker than a HVLP gun, not as quite nice a finish. And my compressor does struggle to keep up with it, so I do have to stop every couple of minutes just to let it catch up. And but anyway, it's doing the job. We're getting our sheets out, and hopefully this is the last 2. I think probably might need to do 1 or 2 more after this. But yeah, the cup gun essentially has been my saviour here. I could use my big gel coat machine, but the amount of cleaning and acetone I'm going to use, and honestly the cleaning process to do in between sheets is just a nightmare. So I'm better off just using this, spray it up, lay it up with my proper gun, my Graco resin gun, and then I'm basically got a pretty quick production. I don't want to be cleaning that machine every time I spray and changing resin systems. Come and have a look at this, Sam. I mean, you've been doing it. So they're starting to get everything together, and obviously we've got the window to cut out here. This is going to have a nice little timber edge up on the top here. Be a big black window, another shelf here. And then over here, we've got another cutout here for the window. I've just put in another piece of foam up here because Sam and I on Friday are going to cut in our big bifold door and hopefully dry fit that, hopefully with Janet's help. There's the 3 of us in here, get it all cut in, get it fitted, and then put it away. And then we've got our back of our helm station here, which is where the television's going to sit, and our access to our steering and the like, and then we've got access to our power winch here. That's almost perfect, Sam.
Almost.
Almost. It'll be close once we get that glued on. Very nice, mate. Very nice. Very happy. A lot of white, and there'll be a lot of woodwork to cover it up. Get on it here.
We're drawing out the reverse templates.
Oh, the access for the power winch over there, and the steering and the MFD. So you're going to mark that one over there. I'll just hold it in place. Righto, go for it.
Not bad.
Right. Right, your challenge is to help me dry fit our main bifold doors. This is the most exciting part of blinging that we'll ever put on this boat. Doesn't look much right now, but wait till you see the quality of this door. Hey?
It's heavy.
It's bloody heavy. Yeah, it's probably the heaviest thing we'll put on the boat, apart from me. Right? Right. I forgot
got one tablecloth too.
Drag that around there. That's looking beautiful.
Oh wow, they're nice.
Now at times I get pretty excited about a potential milestone and then I fail to acknowledge the common sense in certain things. Within seconds of unpacking these new doors, it became totally obvious to our Sam that installing the door frame without the doors was a more sensible option, saving having to carry the weight of the doors up the stairs and then protecting the doors for a later date when there's less grinding, spraying and dust prevalent. Oh, that's got nothing to it now. Just hold the bottom here. It's not that light, is it? Is that it? Works over for the month.
Looks like a picture. You're in a frame.
Right, now we've got it up here, you can sort of see what this is going to look like. It's going to look spectacular once I cut this in. Now this has to be cut in absolutely perfectly. The issue is at the back of these frames there is no trim. So I need to make sure that I get this cut absolutely dead center. Sam's down there cutting some blocks for me just so we can block it up, get it drawn up, and then we can just remove this frame, grind it out. And I've already blocked in some foam here so that I've got solid 2-inch thick foam, 2-inch thick foam basically to make sure that the thing's embedded right in. And then what I'll do once I get the exact shape, I'll be able to shade that back to the thickness of the wall, and there'll be a nice dress trim across the top here. Righto, so we've got this where we want it. It's we've taken a baseline off the bottom of the deck here, or off the cockpit, and it's level. My spirit level's level. The walls are vertical. We've made sure we've checked here and here to make sure that our eye's correct there, our eye's correct over here and here. The issue with it is there's nothing's level on a boat, and the deepest cut of all, this is going to be an absolute ripper because we're going to be grinding for about half an hour with a diamond cut grinder, cutting out the insert, and then we should be able to just pop it in, and hopefully that'll fit perfectly.
It won't fit perfectly, but it'll fit.
It's got to fit perfectly. But then what has to
Nothing
happen?
fits perfectly in this boat. You cut it and then you're like, oh, it's close. Don't stuff it up.
Smart ass. He just bloody looked up the top there. Normally I like to hide my mistakes, but it's impossible with him around because he's an engineer. Never let me get away with anything as the most mature member of the family is Sam. And then there's Ellen and there's Janet Knight. I'm going to have to cut this out, core it, put a new block there to match that. Oh, that should be fun. That's what's got to be done. It'll match here. Yeah, this hole's too big. Probably should have left some over when I cut this out, when I did the mould. I probably should have left a bit of excess. But that can be done. I'll just cut vertically into that, put a new block of foam in there. That'll be good, right? So the only bit I really need to trim out is this bottom tiny little bit here.
Hang on. Take 5, yeah. More than 5. Lift it up. Is that in? Close, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, very exciting day yesterday. Sam and I got the door frame cut in for our bifold door. Now, the issue I've got is that when I laid up the deck, I wasn't quite sure how far I needed to bring this foam over to the edge, and could easily have just taken it right to the edge and not laminated, but I really wanted to make it nice and strong just in case the door actually ended somewhere in here, but obviously I've beveled it to do the right thing structurally, but the problem is now I can't actually embed that door in. It's only going to be sitting on this particular frame here, and I don't like that. I want the solid core to come right to the edge of that door frame, and obviously reinforce the perimeter of the opening. So what I have to do now is, as I've done up here, block it out with foam and then laminate it all the way to the edge, core it, reinforce it so that it's actually a dead flat surface against here, like I've done with the windows here. That is solid all the way to the edge of the windows. Very, very strong way to make a boat. Now this is already structurally strong, so it doesn't need rolled unidirectionals or anything in it, but it does need to be solid, so that this is already 25mm foam plus about 8 layers of laminate on the outside and 2 on here, so it's as strong as houses. But by bringing this out level, then filling it, I'll then have a good surface to mate to the edge here of our door frame. Now, that's very, very important to do that. Now, the issue with that is that I have to cut along this line here and get rid of the foam, and then glue in foam all the way to the edge, laminate from there to here, then shave it back to this edge, which is where the door fits, and then core it and then fill it. So bit of work to do, got to be done. If I get this cut out today and chiseled out, at least I'm ready to glue some more foam on, probably on Monday when Sam returns for his last week of free labour. That's going to really do me in, him going, because he's heading overseas for a while, and probably about 8 weeks. So by the time he gets back on, we're going to be, very, very close to having all of the internals finished, and potentially starting to get systems like the plumbing finished and the engines running. And yeah, what's after that? Well, who knows? We may even get it in the water by late this year, so that'll be very, very exciting for us. All right, it may not look pretty, but it doesn't have to. All I did was just filled in as much foam as I could all the way around on the inside. And you can see here I've basically taken it right out over the edge of the cutout. What I'll do is I'll come back probably tomorrow with my oscillating tool, my cut-off tool, and I'll just trim it to the shape. And then I've got a flush door jamb, essentially. Then I'll laminate it to the edge, grind it out, core it about 2 centimeters, and then I'll fill that and reinforce it. So for now, that's it for me for today. I'm absolutely wrecked. So including the door here, putting flow coat onto the nacelles around the outside, getting ready to sand them down so I can get them sprayed up. They'll look like brand new as soon as I give them a spray and a little bit of a polish. And around the door here, I've done the complete door trim here. I'm done, and I'm going to go home and give Lexi a walk. She has been alone all day. Janet's been out on marine rescues, had humpback whales everywhere today, so it's that time of year here. I'm potentially going to take a day off tomorrow and go paddling with whales. I'm hanging.